Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and this is Elite Dangerous. Now before I continue on my way of exploring the galaxy, I've once again got to build up my resources. Beta 3 arrived a week ago today, and although all us players were allowed to retain our wealth, I'd actually lost all of mine due to a bug. But here I am in a Cobra, and with a rather nice fuel scoop, as you can see by the volume of fuel I'm collecting here. This is a class 4 fuel scoop. I think it's rated E or something like that, and it can actually collect around 140 units a second, which is enough to fill up your tanks fairly quickly. And now this is a good thing when you've got a Cobra, as the price of fuel in Cobra sized ships and larger is pretty extortionate when compared to any of the other ships. Now the plan for the moment is to start mining and get some reasonable money, and you can see here this belt up the top, they've got major reserves. Now major reserves is good. We want major reserves and metal rich, which you can see that one has. However, that's only an asteroid cluster and there's not many asteroids in those at the moment, so what I'm after is rings that fall into the same category as that. But ideally the best ones you can get, or at least the best ones I've seen so far, are pristine reserves. So the plan is to search for pristine reserves that are metal rich. In the core systems around Eridin and so on, you'll find many depleted reserves as well as a few common reserves, and you'll get blocks of ore that just have a few percent of each particular metal type. If you can find major reserves, you can actually get silver or gold ore drops that have anywhere between 20% to 50% gold or silver, and indeed even platinum or palladium. So prospecting for minerals and metals at the moment is indeed very profitable, but only once you find a suitable system. So I'm looking through the galaxy map here, and there we go, here's a pristine one. But have they got metal rings? We got rocky, we got icy. Now rocky ones, they will have some minerals in them. Icy ones we can't mine at all at the moment. So although those were pristine, they're not ideal. Well, as I said, what I want is pristine and metal rich, and it can take a little bit of time to find something like that, and inevitably it's going to be quite a few light years away from what I've got. So again, we found some pristine reserves here. Pristine basically means untouched, that no one else has been in to mine them yet, and I'm fully expecting that we'll be able to get greater than 50% yields of any particular ore type from them. But the trick is to just keep looking until you find what you want. So here I am a while later. It took about 10 minutes or so, and I found system Cato, and these have got metal rich rings that are in pristine reserve condition. And you can see that planet there did have two rings. It's got an icy ring as well as a metal rich ring, but that's what we want. So the aim will be eventually to get to Cato. It's about 150 light years away, so before I go and do that, I'm going to have to try and build up a little bit of cash here and upgrade my frameshift jump drive. I'm going to probably stick with a Cobra ship for now. The Lakon Type 9, which was one of my favourite ships earlier on, is very expensive to get, and I hopefully eventually plan to get it, but I doubt it'll be in Beta 3. But anyway, I've got a Cobra 3, or Mark 3 should I say, and with some module upgrades, these can be exceptionally decent ships that are very well rounded and allow you to do anything from combat to exploration to mining to bounty hunting, and are even damn good at trading, especially if you upgrade all the cargo racks. You can get roughly 50 units or more of cargo. Now you couldn't have failed to notice the little Inception horn sound effect there. That's the system scanner. It used to have a little bleep or something like that, and now it's got a rather loud horn blast. I'm just trying to scan the area here to see if we can find any belts or rings. The system I'm in is unexplored for my ship. I don't have a database of the planetary locations here. So I'm going to fly around for a little while, just have a look to see what I can find. Hopefully we can find some rocks in major condition. I don't expect we could find Pristine this close to the core systems, but major would do the job and would allow me to generate the cash to improve my ship enough to get out to the Pristine rocks that are further out. But it doesn't look like the basic discovery scanner I've got here is actually going to find anything. The intermediate scanner was much better in beta 2, so I guess the same applies this time out, but that is around 500,000 credits, and that's way more than I've currently got. So I've had to jump around by a few systems. Most of them around this way seem to be particularly sparse, but what I've found is this lovely looking planet here. This is a volcanic planet, or a lava planet as they're sometimes called. They were around early on in Premium Beta 1, and they looked fairly good then, but now they look pretty spectacular. There seems to be some sort of impact crater here, or something that looks like the result of a major geological event. It's black. It looks to be like a rather huge chunk of obsidian or some such material right on the surface of the planet there. Just imagine flying down there and flying over those lava lakes and through the valleys that are no doubt going to be there, the massive seams that open up on a planet that's got so much geological activity. With every iteration of this game, the planets improve dramatically. Very impressive. So I know there is a planet here that has some rings around it. They're not particularly valuable ones, but nonetheless I'll go there and do a little bit of mining and build up a little bit of cash. So here we are at Eti 5, which is a high metal content planet, and just look at that planet. That does look fantastic, doesn't it? Now if you look closer, I don't know how well you guys can see it, but there is a lot of impact craters there, and you can see where meteors have impacted on that planet and they've caused a scattering effect to go across the surface. Now that's something new to Beta 3, and it really gives the planets a stunning and unique look. And it's going to make exploring the other systems out there a worthwhile endeavour, as there's no doubt going to be such a huge variation in planet types. And who knows what else you're going to find out there. You can see here that there's two ring types. The outer ring looks to be icy, and now this inner ring I believe is of the rocky variety. And now that means we're likely to find a load of minerals in there rather than metals. But minerals can be very valuable too, and they're certainly worth mining if you can find them, especially the more valuable types rather than the lower price types. Now what I'm going to do is just head straight into this ring. I impact into it. It's a little bit on the quick and easy side, or down and dirty side, but it gets me in the rings without worrying. Now you don't have to go to resource extraction sites in order to mine. You can mine anywhere there's an asteroid. The only asteroids that you can't mine currently are the icy ones. So yeah, we've got rocky asteroids here. The metallic ones actually look a little bit more metal-like, and you do get a very different effect off of the asteroids as you mine them. The rocky asteroids chuck off a load of rocky particles, whereas the metal asteroids chuck off a load of sparks as you mine them. So that's an interesting distinction as well. I'm really interested to know as well what Frontier plan on doing with the ice asteroids. Maybe we'll get to mine some sort of liquids or gases from them that could also be used as fuels or something else. Now, as the chunks drop off here, you can target these, and you can see on the UI to the left of the radar that it shows the content of the particular chunk you've targeted. I'm going to go right ahead and collect that piece. Some of these are probably going to be relatively low value, but I'm just going to collect whatever I can get for the moment. So you can see these are 10% and 12% content respectively. Now if there was in a major reserve belt, these could be as much as 50% content. I don't know what the content or the yield would be from a rock found in pristine reserves, but I'm sure they're going to be a lot higher still, maybe as much as 80% or so. So that's going to be worth seeing, especially if we can get platinum at 80%. The percentage yield represents the portion of a ton, so that particular chunk I targeted there was 10%. That meant 10% of a ton, but they are particularly low value ores, so in the end let's move on and have a look to see if we can find something a little bit more valuable. I'd rather spend my time getting ore that I can get a couple of thousand of credits from rather than just a few hundred. So let's see what we have here. That's a little bit more valuable, and 25% yield is pretty good. I only need 4 chunks of that to make a ton, which in this case would be a couple of thousand. But I always miss and the stuff ends up bouncing around the ship. Now, no doubt practice will make perfect, and eventually I'll be a lot better at scooping than I currently am. But let's get to it. Feels kind of like I'm chasing my tail here, but not to worry. Easy does it. Let's keep this piece central, and we've got it. Resource unallocated. So I've got a 4 bucket refinery unit here. That was about 80,000 credits to purchase, but it's a lot better than the 1 bucket ones. I'll only keep the more valuable ore for the moment. I love those dust particles and rock particles spinning off into the void. Another 25% coltane. So that give me half a ton. So just a few more blocks of that, and I'll have a couple of thousand credits worth of ore. So not bad going all in all. Now you can imagine, once I'm in a pristine reserve belt that's got metal content and it's dropping chunks of gold or platinum at 25% yield, I'm going to be raking in the money quite fast. So as has always been historically true, prospecting is all about finding the worthwhile locations and not just mining in any old random location. So after an hour or so of mining, I made a little over 100,000 credits, and I'm sure if I get to a belt that's got much better reserves, it will be possible to make that amount of cash in a fraction of a time, and that would allow us to get on our way to carry on exploring. So I'm going to buy a new power distributor, and I think I'll go for some new thrusters. Yeah, we'll have them. All the upgrades help. It might seem like I'm going for something a little bit random, but you'll notice the weight of the module is a lot lower, and each time I buy a module upgrade with a lower mass, it increases my jump range, which is going to help me get out there and continue on exploring. My jump range is currently 14.5 light years, so that's a fair old distance, and I think it's probably time to make the journey to those pristine belts, and I'll make the start of that journey in the next episode. As always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys and girls next time. This has been Obsidian Ant, signing out.